This is Hispanic Heritage from ABC4 News.
Welcome back. It's Hispanic Heritage Month in Utah and across the country. That's a time where we take a moment to highlight some of the important issues facing Hispanic Americans and their contributions to society. So joining us today is Dean Michelle Camacho from the University of Utah. She is the first ever Latinx woman to serve as Dean of the school's College of Social and Behavioral Science. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about your background. What were you doing before you were appointed this position?
Well, immediately before I was serving in Washington, D.C. at the National Science Foundation. I was serving as acting deputy division director, overseeing a number of programs, helping advance research across the country, and I led the program for Hispanic serving institutions as well.
Wow, that's wonderful. And you recently moved to Utah for this position.
I did, yes. I recently moved from San Diego. I was a faculty member at the University of San Diego for over 20 years. I earned my PhD at UC Irvine, and I was a Fulbright scholar, and I had 15 years of continuous funding from the National Science Foundation. So when I was nominated for the position to come here, it was really an honor and wonderful to start to think about how Salt Lake City might benefit from some of my experiences and how I, in turn, might help advance some of the excellent initiatives of the institution as well.
And you are the first Latinx woman to hold this position. What does that mean to you?
Well, it's an enormous responsibility, to be honest, because in the context of the changing demographics of Utah, increasingly we have a new president. He has some wonderful initiatives to fortify the pathways, to strengthen student success initiatives. And my role really is to think about how to do that in the most inclusive way possible, advancing academic excellence, but ensuring that access to the U is possible. We already know that it's one of the most affordable institutions at this caliber of research intensivity in the West. And so bringing my experiences together with that intention to fortify the pathways into the U and build culturally relevant pedagogy, support faculty in their excellent research, and address some of the most important social issues that are facing Salt Lake City, such as air quality, housing and food insecurities, and of course in the post-pandemic context, really thinking about the mental health struggles that are so important to the communities that we serve.
That is a long list of plans for the university. I wanted to circle back on something that you touched on, which is there's a lot of pressure being the first Latinx woman in this position. How do you manage the pressure? How do you focus on what matters in your position?
In the context of serving as dean, the issues always have to do with focusing on student success, and so doing that in the most inclusive way possible and thinking creatively with a lot of partners who are very good at considering innovative structures, working in particular to extend community-based research and learning opportunities is one of the objectives that I have as I come into the role. Bringing in new sources of funding, especially given my experience at the National Science Foundation. One of our initiatives is to advance grant writing and bring in research funds. And then, of course, advocacy for the college itself. Not many people know what we're doing in the College of Social Behavioral Sciences, and there is so much potential for partnerships and working with other deans of different units. And so that's my role, is really getting to know the work of the faculty in the college and the interests of students and advancing that work. And also being really public-facing and getting to know the leadership, industry leaders, community leaders here in Salt Lake City, and it's been a pleasure to do so.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on our show as well, Dean Camacho. Thank you so much for joining us and talking a little bit about your big plans for the university.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back.